Well, even though this engine here doesn't seem to be that bad, I went to pick up another one. Sitting on the back of the truck right now. This one here seems to be actually in pretty decent shape. It's been sitting since the 1980s. Guy removed it from the bug because he got a 1600 engine. And this one is locked up, of course, but he did not try to break it free. So it's just sitting there with the groceries. So this one is complete. The exhaust, he just took that off because he found a buyer for it. So you can see it's been sitting. And of course it's locked up, but it's complete. Well, it definitely has water in the oil, because that smew of stuff right there just came off the dipstick. Yummy. No, not really. But the tins look to be in much better shape than mine. Okay. Can't see shit because the door is open. But kind of made it fun backing in here, so. She's a little crusty. She's a little full of spider webs. So I don't know a little bit more, but at least this one's nice. Like, all the tins look good. None of this is rotted out yet. I mean, it still has spark plugs in it. Fuel pump's gone, which is probably where water got down into it from, right here. There has been a socket on here at one time to try to turn it, but I mean, turning it on the front crank doesn't do too much versus turning it on the back. So it doesn't look like a pry bar has been on here. A little bit of chewiness on the ring gear there, but overall it looks pretty good. I'm going to probably say that the rear main seal was leaking on this engine possibly, but oh, looks pretty good. Okay, so I got the spark plugs soaking with some penetrating oil. I got to get a little bit more in there. And yeah, looks like I was running out of a can, so not quite enough in there, but actually overall this is so much cleaner compared to the other one. I'll probably take this guy off in a second, the housing. Believe it or not, in there actually is pretty good in the points. Well, I just spent a while trying to see if that WF underneath there makes any difference, and it doesn't seem to do it. There is another slight logo there, but looks to be just a standard 1200. So, no big deal. Well, it's been about an hour since I sprayed down the spark plugs. That one there seemed to turn pretty good, so I got a quarter turn, like easy. Left it, sprayed it again. That guy was pretty tight. Got a little bit of a turn, sprayed it, leaving it. And that one there, extremely tight. That one there got a little bit of a turn. Nothing out of that guy yet. I know most people install Healy coils anyway on them, but I prefer, if I could get them out, not to do that. So I'm going to let them soak a little bit longer. It's something to be expected, and you see some of the bolts are missing, and I've been looking at this carefully here, and this tin here has been repainted before. So someone has been in here at one time, which could be a bad thing or could be an awesome thing. I guess I'll have to wait to find out. Okay, still tight. They are moving, but I'm talking about 40 to 50 pounds of force to get them to even move. So I moved them both 1/8 a turn, sprayed them down again. These two came out, and no rust on them at all. Inside the cylinders look to be actually very good on this side. Interesting, Healy coil already. So this one here has a Healy coil already installed. This side does not, but the threads don't look the nicest. This looks like a unbrand Bosch spark plug. Very rusty. Could be original, maybe. Auto light. But interesting, yeah. So this one already has a Healy coil. Anyone owns a Volkswagen, that's the very popular to have to do that, and that could be why these two are tight. Some Healy coils, once you put them in there, they really bite. So, and Interesting. So this one here has original looking spark plug, and this one's an auto light. So the two flywheel side have auto lights. Interesting. Okay, so I kind of think I should have left them a little bit longer, but when they came out good. This one does have quite a bit of rust on it. Is that going to not focus now for me? There you go. You can see the rust and corrosion on that guy. Inside the hole, I don't know if there's any spark plug threads left on that guy. Next one, I see some threads. And I don't see no threads on that guy. Doesn't mean they're not there. Someone could have Loctited that plug in possibly. So inside this one here, threads look good on both of them. I sprayed some oil in that one for now. You can see that someone did put a socket on it here to attempt to turn it. I have not attempted to turn it yet because I want to get the cylinders oiled up first. But, so far, it's a lot better than I was expecting, you could say. Thought I'd film this in case it was anywhere near as bad as last side. There's like nothing that comes out of this one. Should have seen the last one. Literally so much crap out of it. Yep, definitely needs new J pipes. You're a little chunky in there. So the idea is to pretty much pull these guys off now, check them, check for a rodent nest in there before I go too much farther, and just waste a whole can of penetrating lube. Now, do I use the PB or do I use the Harvest King? I think she'll prefer the blaster. Not too sure yet. We'll see. That's not too bad looking. So this is the rusted cylinder here. A little bit of gravel and sand in the bottom there. Pop those off in a few minutes. This side here looks a lot nicer. I think the head gasket's blowing on this cylinder because when I look with my camera up there, you can see a little bit of black on one of the rim fins, but I mean, hard to say. Don't know yet. Again, I don't want to force it just yet. I want to spray everything down and let it sit for a bit. And when I say a bit, I mean I'm going to spray it down and I'm going to let it sit till next weekend. That's my plans anyway. Well, I only had about 1 liter of diesel fuel, so dumped in a little bit down the intake and a fair bit down there. And hopefully that could soak into all the bottom end bearings because, like I said, this guy here, this bearing here was pretty locked up on it. Look at this seal, by the way. There's no spring left in that seal. Like, nothing. This guy, oh, this one just started turning just by sitting. So that was stuck before. This one here, yeah, that guy's still stuck. But it never spun, like in the case. I'm glad I didn't try forcing it because it might pop free, but it might have wrecked it too at the same time. And it's been about an hour. Now I'm giving it a little tip because I want all that to get up to the front crank bearing. I'm going to tip it backwards too after. You can hear it going into the barrel, so that's good. So on the other one, hey, look, painted springs. New clutch. I don't even know how to pronounce that, but Smurfin fruit? I don't know. Smurf, I don't know. F and H or F and S. I sprayed a little bit of oil on these bolts already for when I go to break them loose. So a couple drops there missed, but that's not too big of a deal. And the reason why I'm doing this here is I wanted to see, this is all for me spraying And it looks to me like he has not had an oil plug drain loose. Possibly not. Possibly someone took a torch to it at one time, because there's no grease or oil on that bolt. So it might have been very, very tight at one time. Really hard to say. But now I got to tip it back the other way. Kind of wish I had a proper rotation engine stand, because I would just rotate the engine with oil in it and go from there. But I don't. I thought I had one in the city somewhere, but I mean, the can works for now. Go in the garbage. Exhaust. Now I'll try to tip it back onto a clutch side, and hopefully that can oil up the bearing. I did dump some oil down in there too at the same time as I put some diesel fuel, but I mean, I should have technically, if I was smart, I would have took the diesel fuel, dumped it into the oil container to make some very watery ass oil, like 2-weight, 3-weight oil, then dumped it in. That would have been better. Well, good news is the alternator is not stuck. I did technically spray penetrating oil down into it, but she's not stuck. I'm just going to remove the belt real quick. Well, it's another weekend, and it's been sitting now for 6 days. And basically, it is windier as frig day, but I've got plans to sort through some tractor junk. I also picked up 50 kilograms worth of grass seed to try to do the yard. So lots of stuff to get done. Got a light that's not installed yet that's going to be going up there. It's a 250 watt LED bulb. Picked up a socket set from my local pig iron. And 19 to 50 millimeter set. So I can see if I can crank this guy over. I'll have to remove the clutch first. And see if she comes free. This crank here, I'm thinking I'm going to have to put a 2x4 across it. GRK, both sides. Hold the crank. Get that guy loose. Also picked up more penetrating oil, because this engine's probably going to need it. I could just tear this engine down, but I prefer to let it sit. I'm going to probably put back on the valve covers and probably dump in 6 liters of oil, so that way it goes right over top the crank, because I'm pretty sure it's stuck the same way as this guy on the rear bearing. And looking at the way this case is designed, the only way to really get that far is like this is the cam will be soaked, but to get that high, yeah, it's going to be halfway up the pistons. Push rod tubes, yeah, it's probably going to end up leaking over the ground if the push rod tubes are rotten, but it's on top of this barrel, which has a hole on it. So as long as I have it centered, it might be a disaster if I dump that much oil in it, but at least I'm going to dump in some and then use the winch to tip the engine on its back onto this side and kind of rotate it around and hopefully get some oil in there. I never tried turning it yet this week after soaking, but pretty sure she's going to need quite a bit more penetrating oil. Again, I really don't think it's stuck on the top end. I kind of think it's stuck on the bottom end because I'm getting absolutely nothing out of her. Possibly could be this cylinder because it had a little bit of rust on the spark plug, but we'll see. We'll see. Wow, last time I bought a socket set from them, it came in a good case, but this is very flimsy. For, what's this, probably like very heavy socket set. Sure hope this case lasts, otherwise I gotta put it into a toolbox, but it's just a cheaper ratchet. Wow. That is kind of cheap feeling. Well, it has the breaker bar extensions, but there's even huge grind marks right here, dent marks on it. What do you expect? That's all I could say. That's a 36. Jumps up to a 38. It's either a 36 or a 38. I can only find 12 point. Hope this guy fits. Perfect. Fits good. Good enough. Okay. I only need a 1 socket. So, but bought the whole kit. It was on sale. It was 99 bucks. I mean, That's not too bad. I'll just quickly pull it off the clutch. She was actually stuck pretty damn good. Huh. I think that might be possibly the original clutch on there. Interesting. Yeah, that's possibly the original clutch because there's no, it's all one piece, I guess. No. There's a lot of material on there. It does have a Volkswagen part number on it, or a Volkswagen logo on it if that's showing up. Huh. There's a lot of material on there still. Tried my best not to get oil on that one, but those are 250 foot-pounds. Well, I tried turning it over, of course, with the front nut, and the only thing I get is the cranking the bolt tight. I'm just going to play around with it on it for a bit and see what happens. I won't be able to get full torque on it where it's sitting, but we'll see. Well, I just pretty much held my feet off the ground hanging onto this. One hand on this anyway. I had to guide myself, and it didn't budge. So, worst thing to do would be hook up an impact driver. I got a adapter to hook my SDS Plus to one of these sockets. That would give it some good hammering. But good thing, problem is that would probably just end up breaking one of these pins here if it's stuck on the main. It'd just rip it through the bearing, wreck the crank, or wreck the case. So that's not a good option. The best thing I could do would be let it soak a little bit longer, tip it even sideways so oil goes into the bottom of the pistons, like down into this area. So right now I got about a liter of diesel fuel, a couple cans of penetrating oil, plus whatever was left in there, and I already tipped it around a few times. Kind of don't want to tear it down. So we'll see what's going to happen. Okay, so this is going to turn real bad real quick because I'm sure it's one of those push rod tubes, but I filled it up with oil where I seen it actually come out of here, the fuel pump line. And it's probably still soaking down into the bottom, but I'm expecting it to start pouring over at one of these edges soon because the valve cover gaskets, well, they're vented at the top, but I don't think they're going to seal enough to hold the oil. Oh yeah, you can start seeing it already. See? That's the diesel fuel that soaked to the top. This side's starting to leak. A little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is rotate the engine side to side. Idea is to get oil down in it. I'm scared to pull this out, but I'm going to. What do you think's going to happen? Make a mess? What? Okay, well maybe the oil's not as, I guess, that was just an air bubble, but I put in a full 4 liters plus whatever was in there before. Huh, interesting. Let's see here. So when I filled it up, I was filling it up from here, and it jumped over to, this is still used oil in this one. The dipstick hole is right here, which is underneath. The oil pressure, oil pump is right there. So it just went, okay, it just jumped across. So it's probably not as full as I think it is, because again, I put in 4 liters. I have no idea how much oil was in this engine before. It wasn't on the dipstick, if that means anything. But I'll cap it off and give it a little bit of a rotation, you could say. I would put in more diesel fuel, but I am currently out of it. And again, the whole idea of this is just to try to move the oil around inside and lubricate the bearings. Okay, well that's going to lubricate the front. It was making a weird noise up there. Oh, it probably just slipped on the pulley, but there's the penetrating oil coming out. But where is it coming out? I see it's coming out of the dipstick hole. That's going to be the diesel fuel and all the penetrating oil I put in there. So if I do this right, I could tip the engine backwards without the barrel falling. Nope. Okay. Nope. I'm gonna have to move that damn barrel. Winchester sounded a little angry. It's only rated for 200 pounds this direction, so maybe I should take advantage of this and make a bigger hole in the bottom of the barrel too. Nah, I don't think I need to. Okay. Gotta tip it down on the bottom. I'll have to put my phone away. Ooh, free gasket. Bonus! Fail. Well, right there should be definitely enough oil that the rear main seal or bearing is being covered. Again, that one stuck on the rear bearing. All the bearings were stuck, and of course on that engine the cylinder was stuck too. Kind of thinking the same thing with this guy, so I'm going to let it soak like this for a bit, and we'll see. It's been about an hour. Put on my pipe, and nut just loosened. That's technically a good thing, but a bad thing, because I wanted the engine to loosen. Shows how tight it is. Again, that's at 250 foot-pounds. Kind of looking like this engine might have to be torn down. That sucks. That worked a lot easier than I thought it would. Right into these studs here with some big-ass GRKs. Was able to break that free, no problem. I was kind of thinking I was going to be a bitch. That's a bonus. Had to beat the son of a bitch to get that off. She does have the 3 shims behind her. All rusty as frig. But yeah, had to beat the shit out of that. Let's see if that bearing's a little looser now. But, oh, yeah, she's pretty rusted up. Yeah, that's for sure. Thinking I'm going to have to remove the flywheel on the other one to get some penetrating oil back there. Because I'm sure of it, it's stuck in the same spot. I'm sure of it. Kind of want to keep those guys. The seal was pretty much non-existent in my opinion. It's that dry rotted. Wow. It's like solid hard plastic. So I can throw this in my parts bin for now. Somewhere I got a 200 mil. If I remember right, these are considered the 160, or is it the 180 mil? I can't remember, but yep. So that was nice to get that guy off. Oop, wrong way. Don't you swing and hit me. There we go. That worked out perfect. Probably keep that for the next one. Little dusty now. Oh, again, she's pretty locked up right there. Okay, so I'm not sure if I said it last week, but this bearing was originally stuck too, and it broke itself free. I do sell a puller for the cam gear. Cam gear, puller. Do you need... maybe you do, yeah. You probably do need a puller, hey? That makes sense why they sell a puller for the cam gear or the fuel pump cam gear and distributor. Because this guy here is meant to be a forged one. It very well could be, because that one's nicely machined here. This is nicely machined. Right there. You can see the machining marks, maybe. Probably not. Well, you did maybe for a second, but there you go. And this one here does not have the machining marks there. Oh, yeah. Huh. Well, maybe it does. I don't know. Wow. It's a huge difference. This one here is chipped. No, that's the same. Huh. So maybe that is an aftermarket one up there. That's a good thing. Well, This one just came off the throw-out bearing slash, I guess you'd call this sleeve, not a sleeve. You can see they're quite a bit different between the two engines. So that one goes with this engine. This one here had no rust on it, and it's pretty clean in there. I do see pipe dope, it looks like, almost in there. This will go with that. But what do they call those? Pilot bolt? No, there's a name for them. I just can't think of it right now. But just about to drop the flywheel off this guy. Oh, this one dropped out. A little bit of an angry spider there. I don't know if he's alive or dead, but why does my focus always work? Come on. Look at that angry son of a bitch. Don't he look a little pissed off at me? Let's try zooming a different style. No? Okay, well, let's try standing back a few feet. Then zoom in. Nope. Where'd he go? Nope, that's his nest. Oh, he is alive. Look at that, eh? He angry. He's going to be in for a surprise when he finds his oil in his nest. Looks very pissy. There we go. That's a little bit of a better shot of him. I don't like spiders. Well, I don't mind them. That one just kind of looks like an asshole. But yeah, no rust. Everything looks good on this side. This one here had a different style of shim in between the crank. A little tippy. Oh, I see why. Oh, look, another spider. This one here had a shim like this in between there. One of the pins came out, but I got it. No big deal. This one never had a shim in between, but this one came off easy. That one took a son of a bitch to get it off. So I'll get the rest of the shims out of there. But I can see right now the oil definitely got to the rear bearing. So that's kind of what I wanted. Well, I'm pretty sure I can verify that doesn't look like it's corroded or rusty or anything in there. But again, I had oil in it, but it doesn't look like it's solid one piece like the old one. There's the 3 shims sitting there. But yeah, this one here is one piece. Again, this right here, this one bearing, I think is all that was holding up this entire bottom end. Of course, the pistons were stuck, but if you remember right, I took off the pistons and it was still stuck. Everything else spins fine, but not that guy. And again, by forcing that one, I'm either going to strip out the crankshaft, which is not that big of a deal, or I'm going to literally snap a pin on the bottom right here on the block. But again, now I don't know which one's holding it up. Oh yeah, that bearing's on there good. Wow. I just tried to see if I can even get it off with this. Just bending it. Let it soak a little bit longer. But, whew, yeah, she froze good. Those lights just flicker, or was that me? Well, I think I'm going to pull off the intake, pull off the blower, pull off the distributor, and go a little bit deeper on her, I think. Just sprayed some more penetrating oil into the cylinders, but, I mean, from what I could see, those pistons look fine. But I'm sure of it, I'm going to have to heat coil the heads. That's a common issue, of course. But the only one that had rust on the spark plug was number 4, so... Well, I think I'm going to treat myself to a new light in the garage that was sent to me for review before I do this. We'll see if it's any better in a few minutes. And maybe I could stop using my camera light, because right now the light on the camera is on, and of course that draws a lot of power. I'd like to be able to record a little bit longer. I found my vintage. I say vintage because I bought this guy when I was a kid. When I say a kid, I'm talking 20 years ago I bought this. Do you think I could find any bits anymore that could fit it? They're the bigger bit size. That just came off the light. Never used it. But freaking extra bits. Where would I put them, hey? I mean, so far this looks good. Oil cooler was painted. But what I mean by looks good is nothing's overly plugged up in here, unlike the old engine. This one actually has plates on the top. The other one only had them on the bottom, but oil cooler doesn't seem to be leaking. But alternator and blower housing spins perfectly. So that's a bonus, but thermostat most likely stuck. I could say one thing. I like this style so much better that has the, where did I put it? That cyclone, or whatever you call it, goes inside the fan, which cuts the air. Versus the old style here. Or is it the new style with the flaps? That one's a pain in the ass. I don't know what's older. That one was a 1300. This one I was told was a 1200. Well, there's no way to know if there was rust in there before. Looks possibly like there was some old rust in there. The reason why I say there's no way to tell is I dumped some diesel fuel down her. And now I can't really tell. So guess I'll try to get these tins off quickly and go from there. Huh. Definitely do like this setup a lot better. Gotta figure out what year they switched to this. Again, the reason why I don't know what this engine is, because the WF marking, I cannot find anything to do with WF online. If anyone knows about the WF, because without any marking in front of it, it'd be a 1200. But that WF is stamped underneath, not up top. It is a single release or relief case. There is no system at the back here. So, mind you, I never actually technically jacked it up and checked. But, so, some interesting markings in there. 15-4-11. These ones are ground off. But there's a 9 at the end, maybe. So, who knows? There used to be marking here, but me spraying penetrating oil to try to, you know, make sure the seal wasn't dry. Probably removed whatever that writing was. Because that was definitely done with a paint marker. Well, finally had to plug in the old air compressor. She's so loud, it's hard to make videos. Believe it or not, that freaking hose, everything held air all winter, filled up all my tires, blew off the last engine, and just started to blow this one off, and just not quite enough pressure. So, but yeah, oh, that has a Healy coil on that one. Definitely looks like it. This one here has dirt in it, but gonna have to drain the oil now, because the second I pull these off, it's just gonna start hitting the floor. But I'm gonna start by pulling off this side, because I'm pretty sure number 4 is where the problem is, because that's the only spark plug that was rusty. But again, you think I would get a little bit of movement out of her, and that kind of makes me think the bottom end is still going to be stuck on this guy, but we'll find out. This is kind of interesting. So there is a lock washer that was left on there. That was literally sitting there. Huh. But I looked at the manifold. I don't think it would have made a difference. But could that have been causing it to run lean on this bank? Huh. Interesting, hey? Well, there's little signs of rust in there I'm kind of seeing now. So we'll know more in a bit. But that's interesting. Huh. And those are meant to be there. But that side, the other side does not have that. And there's nothing on this side. Huh. Very interesting, hey? There goes all my diesel fuel. The reason why I know it's diesel fuel, it's on top of the oil. Water would be on the bottom. Do I dare? Am I going to get sprayed? No. Oh, yummy. The way I think of it, that sat in there over a week. The rest of the oil sat in there for quite some time. So I'm going to actually tip the motor up on its front to drain. Because I'm too lazy to open the oil pan right now. Where to put the greasy dipstick. What a messy job. Well, it's draining. So it's taking its sweet ass time. I don't dare open that damn near. Almost got me right in the damn crotch when I tipped her. It's coming out of the fuel pump and the drain hole. I don't want it to come out too quick. That's why I'm not opening the bottom, because the hole in the barrel is not that big. So barrels make great teardown tables. I just wish they were curved a little bit more. Maybe I got to bash it down one day. We'll see. Well, the good news is even the bottom here wasn't that filled up, but looks like possibly could have had a leaking head gasket. But push rod tubes are not rotten. Very surprised. Very, very surprised about that. Whew. Definitely got enough oil on this top end. You can see a little bit of rust on here. You guys can actually see that now. So that wasn't visible before with the lack of light in here, but yeah, you can see the rust on there. This was pretty much right filled with oil. I just popped off that cover. Can't do the same on this side because I gotta wait till it's overhanging like this. Gotta move the engine in a few minutes, but yeah, she's almost out. But yeah, all the push rod tubes on this side looks good. I just finished giving everything a nice soak down. So everything so far is looking good. That's a bonus. Wow, that's interesting. Look at the size of that center bolt there. Right here. That one stayed in. I have not seen a system like that. Normally they're all studs, but and gave it a brake clean before I pulled it apart, but interesting. That is interesting. So yeah, definitely 1200 heads are 1200 heads. Now, none of these were stuck. None of them seem to be stuck. They all seem to open, like close, I mean. So, maybe I should put in my air chuck spark plug and see if I can force some air down and get her to move that way, but that guy's backed out a bit. That one's not. That one, yeah. These two seem like they're backed out slightly. I'm looking at the head. Interesting. I mean, very well could be. Yeah, interesting. Kind of see a gap on this side. No, it's the same idea here, so. Okay. I also noticed that's pretty beat up like that. But I guess that's kind of the way they all are. Again, I have no experience with this engine. The only experience that I have in the last 20 years with Volkswagens would be tearing that engine apart. Previously, if anyone's skipped through the video, I worked on 1600 and 1500 engines slightly. I used to slightly, you could say, work at a Volkswagen dealership that dealt with antique Volkswagens. So Golf Auto, I wasn't there very long, but it was enough that I learned about it, quite a bit about the bus engines. So that was pretty cool, but kind of wish I stayed in that trade, but then I wouldn't be doing it. It wouldn't be fun anymore, would it? Well, one thing I can say, this wasn't as bad as the last engine, so I just broke all the bolts loose and head's already loose. And the last one I had to beat off with the sledgehammer. There goes push rod tubes, and that's the cylinder right there that I seen some corrosion in it, but not actually that bad. But that cylinder right there is most likely what was stuck and blocking her up at top dead center. Yep. Okay, well, I'll see how bad that's going to be. Move my cylinder head to my cylinder head hoard. That's a good one. And I was looking, so those heads right there, all those dual port ones up there, are the same as the one off the 1300. And this one here has a completely different design. Like as an example, do you see the V notch right there? This one doesn't have that. So the bolts are not recessed. Those ones, they're all recessed in. Lots changed, that's for sure. But I wonder, it might be compatible to move them over a 1300. I know you could get a big bore kit for this guy, but the big bore kit I think was only, what was it, 1344 or something you could get. So it's a 1200 big bore. Basically, the cylinder liners are just a little bit smaller. Sure enough, I'm not going to be able to grab that with pliers, am I? I mean, I could probably just grab that and rip it off. But I kind of don't want to wreck it. But that would do it. Huh. Interesting. I still see some interesting crosshatches in there, but ooh, this one's actually grady too, but a lot of that could have came from the cylinder. But it almost looks like this piston's been moving. Weird. Yummy. Again, a lot of that stuff could have actually just poured down the intake. But the valves, or through the exhaust, like I did blow stuff in, but I'm sure of it, it's stuck on this side. I'm going to put a bar on it soon and I'll find out. Well, the gaskets on the push rod tubes are actually still very flexible. Just pick them up off the ground. And this side here actually looks pretty good. A little flaky. But at the same time, who knows? There was a little bit of slime in there and grime in there, but it doesn't look that bad. And where to put this guy? Double stacker. There we go. I'll take a better peek at those. And to be honest, like for a trike like this, a 1200 engine would definitely be all it needs. Imagine this thing with a freaking 100 horsepower, freaking 1600 or 2180. No, I'm 40 horse, 36, whatever. I think that would be fine. So, but yeah, a little bit of grime in there. I'm going to wipe them out. We'll see. Well, it looks like someone did pistons on one side because this one is hollowed, grooved out, and this side isn't. So I'm going to guess these are the newer looking ones. So these must have got changed at one side, and these ones are still original. So, because I didn't notice the other one because I smashed them off. I think they were all this style, possibly. I do have a cylinder here. Yeah, so that's the hollow size. Now, out of curiosity, see the difference in size. Does not fit. Kind of figured. Oh, wait a minute. Huh. Interesting. Okay, well, that's just confusing me. That fits perfectly. Okay. So, why does that fit? This was a 1300. That one could be a 1300 too. Interesting. Because trust me, I took a peek at the 2180. So much bigger than this. Okay, well, that's interesting. So technically, I got a spare cylinder. Possibly. But maybe the... Oh, no. The travel is different. Stroker or non-stroker crank, it's the length of travel. I bet you that's different. Well, if they're the same length cylinders, might still have a spare cylinder. We'll see. Well, sure enough, all cylinders are stuck. I was tempted to possibly make some kind of puller. If I weld a nut to this, bolt those on, I could push the pistons, but it's not going to pull the cylinder sleeves or cylinders because they'll be bolted on. So I'm like, So I was kind of thinking of doing that. That would work if only one was stuck, but it might also force the other cylinders off because it would force these ones out as the piston tries to push out. So if I go slowly back and forth, possibly. I tried putting the dead blow hammer to them and hitting it with the mini sludge. I don't want to crack the pistons yet. Because technically, it'd be nice to not have to spend $500 on a new set of cylinders. Well, $400, I guess. Well, I almost got off the first cylinder, and it's been about an hour. But I could tell you one thing. She is... Piston's not meant to have that kind of play. And if you guys can see, the bottom end is a rusty mess. Even with the oil that I dumped in there. She had some water in her for quite a long time. Believe it or not, this guy clearly was in much better shape, even though it had some rust in it. So... I'm still going to finish ripping apart that other engine. This bearing here, I did get it slid a bit, ouch, off. And I probably should have heated it up perhaps to try to get it off. It's tight. I'm letting it soak a bit more. The last little bit that it moved, it went pretty easy. Kind of hoping to keep this crank. If not, I do got the stroker crank up there. But if I do that, it means I'm going to have to bring this in and have a machine shop open up for the 21, what were they, 2180s? 2180 pistons, so which seem to be in good shape. So again, hard to say. I don't need that kind of horsepower, but maybe for the big dune buggy in the future, it would be good. Oh shit, my battery's almost dead on my phone. Okay, well, I'm probably going to end this video for tonight, and probably still work on it, but we'll see. Huh. I've never seen a piston cut like that. Do you guys see that? That is interesting. That guy seems to have a hell of a lot of play in there. Piston rings are all stuck. Oil rings, very rusty, but those vents on the piston, that is very interesting. My phone battery is about to die, but yeah, she would have been a little bit of a loud engine, that's for sure. With that kind of play. Okay, so I got all this cylinder. It is a vented piston, and so I hit it at the beginning, broke a fin, board broke, it's in the trash, right? I never actually had to hit it very hard, but check this out. Is that new, or did I just do that pulling it apart? So, original Volkswagen part number on this guy. So, I bet you the other one doesn't have that. 39, 21, 15, 68. It's interesting. So, the other cylinder. Well, it is a Volkswagen part number on this guy, too. '28. I can't really read that one. But it sucks that guy broke. But here's one from another Volkswagen. A little crusty. But this one here is the one that came off, and it still had cross-hatching. Holy. There's a huge difference in cylinder height. Not sure how well that's showing up there, but yeah, that's a big difference. Do you guys see that? So 1300, 1200. And even look at the way the cylinders are. See how these are open like this? This one here has bolts going through it. So, interesting, hey? I'm learning stuff about the 1200 that I didn't even know I knew. But that is a different design. That probably cracked from breaking it out. Hammering it, probably just slapping on here. So, wow. Hey. Well, battery's stone dead, but wow. That cylinder, I had to split it to get it off. That's how bad that was. Splitting it, they come off very easy, but of course, it's quite a bit darker in here now. Don't have the light on. This light on my camera, but so I ended up having to smash off an entire cylinder on this side. Bottom end is very rusty, and I've never seen pistons before with vents like that. Every one of them has it, so I don't know if that's aftermarket. That one has some pretty good beating on it. Had to beat it out with the hammer. I don't like doing that because it, of course, it's smacking on the rod. But beating off the cylinder, it puts strain on the cases. So what do I want to save more, the case or the rods or the pistons? I kind of wanted to save everything, but it's like the last one. I got one cylinder and probably one piston. No, all these pistons are pretty shot, but one good cylinder possibly. But I do got a set of heads, which are good. And these are, you know, some people love these heads because of the extra cooling. What are they, square or something? Let me check. No, I just looked at my picture. I guess these are just the standard 1200 heads. I know there's two different types. Some of them people like a lot more, but these seem to be just the standard ones. They seem to be in good shape. None of the studs are broken. One stud's missing, but it's not, has lots of thread still in there. As for the spark plug holes, they actually seem to be pretty decent. That one there, yeah, they're still pretty decent. So good set of 1200 heads, which are kind of useless on other stuff. These cylinders are longer than the 1300s. So I got to decide, do I order a set of pistons, cylinders, probably rod bearings for sure, crank bearings. This rod here, I think that's the one that was, the wrist pin is very loose on it, so probably why the engine was parked. Probably was knocking like a son of a bitch. But I got 50 kilograms worth of grass seed to go spread out, so this is going to sit for a bit. Then I'll pull off the pistons and most likely crack the case apart. Because I'm not sure if I mentioned it, she is still so stiff that I'm going to break something or just destroy it trying to turn it. Yeah, these bags of turf seed, grass seed, were on sale for half price, so hey, $100 a bag, can't go wrong with that. Well, overall, I'm going to say that light has been awesome. I got probably about 20 hours of runtime on it. I know, can't really tell, but, you know, I left it on when it wasn't in here a bit. And, again, it gives a very decent amount of light in here. Kind of hard to tell right now because it is daytime outside, but for working and stuff, especially like engines, I do not have my phone light on right now. It gives plenty of light. And my camera still dims, so realistically, not sure if that shows up, but that's probably about the brightness that I'm actually seeing right now. And of course it just dimmed out again. Should really find a way to lock that. But sure dims out if I look at it. But that's just a quick review. Unboxing quickly, I guess, even though I unboxed it kind of out of a wet box. One thing I didn't show, anyone that cares to see any of the paperwork that comes with it, if you guys want to read that, I'll let you see. You see 30,000 lumens and 250 watts. Suitable for damp locations. I don't see anything to do with a temperature rating, but for some reason I thought I remember seeing -20. So definitely a nice work light, that's for sure. Well, the old Polaris decided it wanted to give up its old life on the battery. So last time I changed that battery was 2016. So I guess that's pretty good. And switching it over to one of these guys, it's the exact same battery. And kind of wished I went to something a little bit bigger, but hey, it works for now. Spec-wise, they're virtually identical and most likely made by the same manufacturer. Well, I got 2 leaks in the tires to fix. Never mind those. Dry cracked. Right there in that split. Not sure how well that's going to show up, but so I got a dry crack there, and I got another one right here. That sucks. Huh. That really sucks. And I found another one on the sidewall here. That sucks. So 3 little leaks on these tires. Well, that kind of sucks. This tire is not good. Nice warm day. Do I finish tearing this guy apart? It's now next weekend. So it's funny how that penetrating oil makes everything look so dry after. So again, this guy does turn now, but extremely stiff. And going to pull off the pistons. You can see the bottom end is super rusty in there, if that's even showing up. So they need to be cracked. There's no chance of just getting away with putting on new 1200 cylinders. So the other option is to go back to this crankcase, because this one here can take 1600 cylinders. And then going through the heads I have up there. So if this could take 1600 cylinders, I can bore it to take the 2180s I have up there. And technically that engine case can be. They're both single relief cases. So got to decide, but holy, it was cold last night. You guys see the moisture on that crank? So yeah, I think we're gonna have to pull some of these parts down. It's probably better not to leave that wrapped up, but got to do a bit of a cleaning. Possibly might sell that motorcycle, have someone interested in buying it for $800, which is a pretty decent price. I think I'm into it for about that. The other option is I could put a couple thousand into it and get it going. I say a couple thousand, but realistically $400 for tires, fork seals, needs a bunch of other work. But for out where I am, motorcycle, not so good. Be good inside the city, but I just gotta clean up some of these parts. So out of the cylinders and Volkswagen stuff, these two 1200 cylinders are good. Well, seem to be good. I got one of the 1300 cylinders down there that seems to be good. And going to have to go through the parts. So even if I do fix this back up as a 1500 or so, I am going to need to get minimum of one cylinder, so I might as well get a pair. But the other option is I just do nothing with these engines. Continue piecing them, pulling them apart, throw them up on a top shelf for 1 year. And I do have that 1600 Type 3 engine that used to be fuel injected in the city. And just use that one. Again, there's really no need for me to go through these ones, but it's just would like to be able to use some of those parts. So, but no matter what, the cases do have to be bored out, and I'm wondering if I can do that myself, or if that's something that I'd have to most likely have to bring into a machine shop. So again, just kind of thought I'd leave this as the end of the video, and peel these very thin paper gaskets off here, even though a lot of people don't use those. Got to start cleaning shit up. I got to take my truck, bring it into here, decide if I'm going to pull the studs off for the winter. Just pull them out. That takes quite a bit of time. The Polaris, I need to wait until I get proper tire plugs, or switch that front tire, or pull it off and patch it, because it has a slow leak. It's dry rotted. So I got lots of stuff, and I also got a trench of cable from here to the house, from here to the front. And I actually got to do 2 trenches to the garage, because one of them is going to be for data cable. The other one will be for power. And of course, as you can see, tons of stuff needs to be done in here, but it's getting pretty toasty in here already. The old pool ended up becoming some tables to hold some water for some plants. And these guys are still pretty dry. There's not quite enough water in here. Yeah, it's not sucking it up. Definitely need the garden hose hooked up. And that light has been awesome. That's all I could say. Wasn't this fun? It's already the second load out of here. Bug. Was going to fix the loader, and decided not to. So all this shit has to be dragged out of here by hand. Motorhome's going to be moved up forward, because right now it's being eaten by a tree. Quite literally. Got everything out from underneath it. But yeah, I want to drive it forward so I could get to the tires. Throw a battery in it, get it where it's maybe running and driving. But getting the old Horde out of here. Got some old plows. Got to decide which one am I going to keep, the slave hitch style or the 3-point. That'd be nice. Both styles, but this plow here that's made for a Sears is probably going to be placed onto that Bollins because there's no attachments left in good shape. Snowblower failed this year, and the mower deck is there, and it needs spindles. So what I'm going to do is take a look at that mower deck and find out what spindles do I need, and I might either fix that mower deck, and I also got that snowblower I could fix for it. But freaking train, hey? But I gotta decide what I want to do with it. Do I want to just make it into strictly a plow machine, or do I want to use it for cutting grass only? But the steering needs to be fixed on it. Started moving this tent shed here. Ideally, the Land Cruiser will be pushed into here. So, but the tent shed I'm going to extend probably another 10 feet from that one. So I'll make it a 34 footer. And starting to move the horde into the horde pile back here. But I also got to keep it open right here because planning to add on to the garage. Because that's why there's a cutout in the cement on the bottom. But so much crap to still move, so much horde to move, and it's kind of a project for this weekend. And as you can see, I'm in a t-shirt because it was just plus 20 outside, and now it's slowly getting a little cooler, so not too bad. Well, pulled off the studs for now, and the pistons are stuck. Yes, so I'm gonna let those guys soak a little bit longer. Pulled off the studs. So I gotta get these two studs off. I'm gonna lay it flat on here, block up wood underneath the piston, because right now, of course, the piston moves side to side, and I don't want to break the rods. I don't want to bend the rods, and I don't have a fancy tool to push them out. So, so yeah, those pistons are toast. They are garbage. But the bottom end is turning over fine now. It does need to still be split, be cleaned. But that's where I'm going to leave it for tonight. And maybe I'll just upload the video the way it is. I did a little bit of yard cleanup, finally. I moved a bunch of shit around, but still needs a lot of work. So, got to get that blower moved, tiller taken off, that guy parked, but started cleaning out this section here. It's almost looking like a yard again. Still got lots more to move, but got all that shit to move, and that's about all I'm going to get done. Of course, girlfriend and Liliana helped move some of the horde. Stuff that was put here was only meant to be for a few months when I was building the garage, and then it was meant to be moved immediately back over here, but looks like a junkyard now, or starting to anyway. Got a couple skids put there. All the good stuff's going to go on there, and then I'm going to maybe use some of the crappy metal and rivet it across the back side of this, and maybe a tarp at the same time. But this is off the Bollins 1600 Hydro. Missing tons of parts. If anyone has a 1600 or Bollins deck like this and wants to sell the spindles and pretty much everything but the metal, let me know. Got 2 mule drives. I got all the covers, but it's missing the spindle, the blade assembly, and that's pretty much shot. So I need pretty much everything but the deck. And then most of the horde just got dumped over here for now. Got to go through it, decide what I'm going to keep, what I'm going to get rid of, but yeah. Still got a ton of shit stashed in the bush in the backyard. Got a couple, hey, that tree's not dead? What the hell? I swear that tree I said had to come down before, but I'm looking now, there's a bunch of green on it. Weird, I thought that tree was totally dead last year. But if I leave the tent shed here, I'm still going, this is a 24 footer, 24 by 12. Leaves me enough room here that I can still drive a vehicle through here. The idea is to get the rusty, crusty Land Cruiser into the tent shed for the winter, but still lots more to work on, but that's where I'm leaving it for this weekend. Well, it's the first time taking this trail this year, and normally I don't take it because it gets pretty mucky, and you can kind of see there where people were sinking in. So now it's nice and dry out, but one of my main hunting trails. It takes about 20 minutes to get down the trail. I normally go a little bit quicker than this, but at the same time, It is the first time this year, and I have no idea if there's going to be any trees down around the corners, so. But I thought I'd kind of make a little bit of an update, / a little bit of a video here. So, I always like to see what changed. Note self stay on trail. That would help too. But yeah, such a beautiful area. Again, I do a lot of hunting in this area. It's one of the primary trails. So, it's an ATV trail. It's not a truck trail, but you know, this ranger does pretty good on them. And if I do happen to get stuck, my house is about, it'd be about an hour and a half walk from here. I might be able to do it in 1 hour, I guess. But, you know, it's not too bad. And a lot of bugs coming out. Windshield just covered in bugs, but don't see any wildlife other than one rabbit. That's all I seen. And I was tempted to get some rabbit meat, but it's not really the best time for them. So, and other than that, nothing else is moving today. But I mean, I've only been on the trail for about 15 minutes so far. I was hoping to kind of see some kind of wildlife, but at the same time, I got the poo-poo with me. She's enjoying the ride. Really should come and cut some of this firewood, hey? So, get a little bit of decent firewood out of it. Like all these trees here, you see people just cut it and then leave them. But, well, guess I'll shut off the camera for now. It gets a little bit rocky up ahead. I don't know what kind of bird this is, but it damn near hit me in the head. You guys see the color of him there? Cool, hey? I don't know what he is, but he damn near swooped by and hit me in the head. There he goes again. Very orange bird. Holy, Tire Horde City. So it's actually not that bad, but finally getting the junk out of here. So this was just sitting at the back of the property, so it's like, yeah, it's finally time to haul this out. So originally I was going to build, right where that hole is there, I was going to build a little shed. And this little tiny corner here was where I was going to work on my stuff, because it's pretty far from the house and it would keep all the noise down. But yeah, that would have been way too small. Decided I just put a trailer ball on this guy and using the old diesel to pull around some junk. Whew, a little warm in here. It's about plus 20 outside, but in here, down below, it feels pretty warm, pretty cool. Put your hand up and you can just feel the heat radiating off the roof. I do wish, I better stop that from opening. I do wish that I would have got insulated roof panels. Hell, all the panels would have been nice. What is, no, this one's gonna do that? I do gotta fix that setup. But a little warm in here, but gotta clean some stuff out. Gonna hoard, you could say, all the Volkswagen parts probably into the shed, or maybe up there. And I gotta put away the Volkswagen engine stuff. These pistons here, I pulled the pin. They're tight. The only way I'm going to get these out without wrecking the rod is I'm going to have to lay this flat on the workbench, take out those studs. I'm going to have to block it up and probably air hammer or cut the pistons off. Because I could say one thing, that'll definitely damage the rods if I try otherwise. Yes, I could get a fancy tool to push them out, but I'm not going to bother with that right now. I'm just going to set it aside. But the truck, I got to get the studs out of the tires. So I got to pull all the studs, because it's either that or I spend $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 on a new set of tires and swap them over for $200 every year. No, I'll pull out the studs, and then come winter, I'll get a new set of studded tires. And to do that, I got some hoard to move. You know, I just looked at something. I can actually take the pistons rods right out without splitting the case. There's plenty of room to get to those bolts in there. Not really showing up there, but well, I think that's how I'm going to do it. And I just cleaned that off, and I was just going to well, that would make it a lot easier than trying to get the pistons off right now. Again, I don't watch how anyone works on any of these. or haven't watched any videos on disassembly, but I prefer to figure things out myself. Really screwed up that nut. Or bolt, I guess that is, but yeah, I guess I'll pull those off real quick before I put it into storage. Well, this is cool. So having that light on and door open, I actually have enough light that I can work on stuff. That doesn't make sense to some people, but before having a door open, it would make everything dark and hard to even see. Like everything would be so dark without that light on. So I guess the only way to show you guys, you can't really see it, but as an example, if I was sitting here looking this way, the bright light there makes everything so hard to see. But it works out good. I can leave that open, and this door is going to be opened hopefully soon. When I get a replacement for this door, those old doors will probably be moved here, double door, overlapping each other, one on the inside, one on the outside. Nah, I just need one. But that is a bonus, that light. So just thought I'd kind of mention that. I have, well, quite a bit of runtime, left it on for a few nights in a row. Oh, it's almost time to put on this guy. Yeah, that's the heaviest mower deck I have ever moved. And it's a very big one. So what was it, 70 inches almost? No, it wasn't that big, but freaking heavy. Well, that's not the cut, but that's the overall length roughly of it. So damn near 70 inches. The overall cut is going to be 58, I would say, because can't really see where the end of the tape measure is, but I'm looking there. It's going to be a 58 inch. Might be considered a 60-inch deck. Wow, that guy survived the winter without needing to be charged. But yeah, heavy ass mower deck. So moving some shit around out here. Got the VW trike pushed into the corner there. Gonna probably lift this guy up onto the barrel. Shift it through the gears with pliers on the shaft here. See if all the gears seem to work fine. Then I'm tempted to pull the transmission off the frame. But that's a huge job on a swing axle. Why can't it be independent suspension? And keep the transmission inside, throw the rest outside until I need it. Again, kind of tempting to do that. The other option I can do is drag it into the shed and keep it out of the weather. Maybe I'll end up doing that. Hard to say. Might put a set of tires on it so I can drag it around a bit easier because I don't have the loader working. Mind you, it rolls pretty good just on the brake drums. Whew. Smoky outside. Huh. Interesting. 3 years ago we had a big forest fire, but none of the smoke here is from any of this stuff. It's all from quite a long time, quite a long ways over. But I'm gonna get this tent shed apart today. Get that tarp hauled to the dump. Finish cleaning up this area. This area here, I got all this rotten wood. Those beams weren't that rotten 7 years ago, 8 years ago, but man, did they go downhill quickly. So those were some nice beams, and I'm still tempted to take the grinder and try to clean them up to make like something out of them. But yeah, pretty sure they're long gone. But all the leaves are starting to appear on the trees. The wood ticks are out in full force, but the good news is no mosquitoes yet. So that area is nice and cleaned. I was measuring, I can get this guy into the greenhouse door. Be a tight fit, but it would fit. Then I could get the top off and maybe start disassembling some stuff. But super windy, as you guys can see today. You know, I finally figured out what that noise was. You know how many times I've been back here and I don't know where the noise is coming from? I hear it slamming, but I think I just figured it out. But that might make it a little bit quieter when I'm in the garage and I hear the big slams. But gonna go through this horde. Some of it's getting hauled to the dump. What do you guys think? Tires are pretty low, and yeah, I don't think the Sears is rated to haul this, but she has a diesel, so that makes instantly that she is, right? We'll try on idle. Oh, that seems to go from. Okay, let's go to a higher gear. Second gear. Second gear is too much for her. I don't have electric start hooked up yet. Uh-oh, she's going backwards. Pause this for now. I really need to get electric start set back up. It's annoying having to get off to turn her off, to start her up and everything. Okay, yeah. She just pulled a kitty walk there slightly, so too much weight. Have to stay in first gear. Okay, I'll break her if I try any higher gears. First gear, high range. Yeah, I don't really want to break off an axle hub. Tree. Perfect. Take a while. If she's hauling it, if I don't break anything, I'll be surprised. That's a lot of weight back there. That's a lot more than I trust pulling with my truck even. Deer's pretty far away. You guys probably don't understand how far that is, but that's very far back bush line, and it's pretty far. Normal 5x zoom. It's taking a trail on the way to work. Caught my eye at the back of the field. During rifle season, that'd be a pretty easy shot. So, but always love driving these trails. So, especially now that they're open, had to move a few too many logs this morning to get down the trail, but it was worth it.